Good afternoon and welcome to the November 20th Community Services and Parks Commission meeting. Can we have roll call, please?
Certainly. Commissioners Alcazar? Here. Kalfayan?
Here.
Sardarbegian?
Here.
Wolfson? Here. Ex officios Commissioners Kevorkian?
Here.
Minassian?
Here.
And President Meek.
Here.
Okay. The agenda for the November 20th, 2023 regular meeting was posted on the bulletin board outside City Hall on or before Friday, November 17, 2023. Item 2, introductions and presentations. At A is introduction of new or promoted CSP employees.
Thank you. Good afternoon, President Meek, members of the Commission. We have one employee here that I'd like to introduce, and that is Ani Pagosian. Ani is a senior admin analyst that has just joined Community Services and Parks, and she is actually a lateral transfer from Community Development. We are very happy to have Ani with us. She's been with the city for 13 years and previously in the economic development section of previously redevelopment with CDD, and she is lateraling over to Parks. She has a bachelor's in criminology and a master's in public administration. Her experience includes financial background and budget, payroll, purchasing, contract administration. She's worked on Glendale Tech Week and in CDD and hosting monthly networking events. So she's got the business retail background. She has marketing experience with creating brochures and social media support and, of course, administrative support. She's been the liaison to the business districts, so with downtown Glendale and the Montrose area. And she has also done some property profile research, so I think that will come in handy with us in looking for some parks property to purchase for new parks. So with administration, she's going to help us in various areas of the department, mainly in the admin section, working on our social media, contracts, helping with CIP, and other sections like homeless services or recreation that might need assistance. But she will be admin support working with Onega and I and administration. So I'd like to welcome her and introduce her.
Hi and welcome. Thank you. Would you like to say a few words?
Sure, thank you. Good afternoon, President Meek and members of the council. Members of the commission. I'm very excited for this opportunity and I look forward to working with you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda.
Item 3, upcoming council agenda items.
Thank you, President Meek, members of the commission. On November 28th, we have one report on the Recreation Access Competitive Grant Program funds from LA County MTA for the Nature Education Program at the Stone Barn Nature Center at Dukemejian Wilderness Park. On December 5th, we are taking the long-awaited Dock Park feasibility study to council for them to review and approve a Dock Park location.
What was the date of that again?
December 5th.
Thank you.
December 12th, we have two items. State of California Department of Industrial Relations Division of Apprenticeship Standards State Apprenticeship Expansion, Equity, and Innovation Grant in the amount of $1.4 million from May 1, 2023 to June 30th, 2025, and to continue the expansion of Early Care Education Registered Apprenticeship Program. Second item is Amendment 12 for fiscal year 2023-2024, LA County Aging and Disabilities Department, California Department of Aging, allocating $20,000 for the Elderly Nutritional Meals Program.
Thank you. Next item.
Next is item 4, commission staff comments.
Do any of my colleagues have anything to say? Susan?
I just want to say I attended a couple of events since our last meeting. One was the Oak of Peace event, and I found it very enjoyable. I couldn't stay for the whole thing, but it was well attended, and of course the setting is beautiful, and I got a chance to hug the new oak while I was there, being a tree hugger. And then I also went to the Fall Festival, and it was a mob scene. Very, very well attended. Looked like everybody was having a great time. So really enjoyed myself. Thank you.
Okay, I have a few things. I also went to the both the Fall Festival and the Oak of Peace dedication, both of which I enjoyed, and watched the historical reenactment. I was not aware that the predecessor of the peace treaty for the Spanish-American War was actually signed and written right there. I also wanted to say that I went to the Glendale Youth Alliance Awards banquet. It was a wonderful event. I appreciated hearing all the stories of what the people who won the awards for the Glendale Youth Alliance and had. It was very touching. I appreciate even more the Verdugo workforce and the Glendale Youth Alliance for what they've been doing. They do help make a lot of lives a lot better. I would also like to bring up a couple things. You already mentioned the dog park. Do we have a timetable on the solar panels up at the sports complex? Or is there anything up on that?
President Meek, members of the commission, I believe GWP took a report last week to City Council to approve that project. We will follow up with GWP and we'll get a timeline.
Okay.
I believe 6 to 9 months away, but we'll get a final timeline and share it with the commission.
Okay. Also, and both of these can come up for the quarterly update, but the Mayor's Park, there's the student who's doing some volunteer work, and the Glorieta, I'm calling it Glorieta Park, the passive park that Southern California Edison was going to let us use. Can we have updates on those when we do our next quarterly update?
Yes.
Okay. And I would also like to see if we could form some sort of ad hoc committee between arts and culture and the parks in regards to Fremont Park and reviewing the suggestions for the art that's going into that park. I'd love to try and get that art in with the opening of the park in a couple of years. So I'd like to see if we can help push that along. And also if we can include possible mural for the model railroad building to let people know that that's there. It'll be facing the new road that goes past the park. And I think that would be a wonderful addition over there. Chris Peplow isn't here, but I wanted to thank him and Public Works for getting a new tarp on the gas station, that historic gas station at the Adams Square Mini Park before it rained, and to see if we can keep Public Works going on that roof replacement for that building. That's all my comments at this time. Next item.
Next item is 5, oral communications. We don't have any callers or cards. Item 6, consent items. At A is approval of the minutes of the commission regular meeting held on October 16, 2023.
Okay, is there any discussion or move to approve the minutes?
I move to approve the minutes.
I will second.
Could we have a roll call?
Certainly. Commissioners Alcazar,
I'll abstain.
Kafayan,
I was absent.
abstain. Sarder Begin, Wolfson,
Yes.
And President Meek.
Yes.
Thank you. Item 7, action items. At A, a selection of Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission officers. At 1, a selection of president for the term November 2023 to November 2024. And at 2, a selection of secretary for the term November 2023 to November 2024.
Okay. I'm going to open the nominations, and I think that turns over to you for that.
Yes, thank you. If you could turn the meeting over to me, I'll move forward. The business before the Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission is a selection of a new president. I will now entertain nominations for that office.
I will nominate Commissioner Kalfayan.
Are there any further nominations?
I guess I'll recommend Commissioner Alcazar.
Any further nominations?
If I could have clarification, are we doing it in a specific order, or is it just based on nomination?
It's based on nomination and
All right.
and voting, yeah. So hearing no further nominations, I will proceed with the roll call. If you would please state who you are voting for. We have a nomination for Commissioner Kalfayan and one for Alcazar. So just state their name. Okay, Commissioner Alcazar?
I'll gonna graciously vote for myself.
Sure.
Thank you.
Kalfayan?
Commissioner Alcazar.
And Meek?
Alcazar.
Okay. Starter Begin?
In that case, Commissioner Alcazar.
Okay. And Wilson?
Commissioner Alcazar.
Okay, thank you. I now declare Commissioner Alcazar the duly elected president of the Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission. Madam President, the task before you now is to open the floor for nominations for secretary. And if you'd like to switch seats at this time, we can go ahead and do that.
Iris. I just want to take a moment to thank my fellow commissioners for the vote of confidence and approval. We do some advisory work right on how the city should go about making decisions for protecting the land, serving the land, but also the people of Glendale. And so I look forward to the next year with you all. So with that, I will discuss the business next before the Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission, which is the selection of the new secretary. So now I will now entertain nominations for that office, please.
I recommend Susan Wolfson.
Are there any further nominations? Okay, I'll go ahead and take roll call, and you can answer yes or no. Commissioners Kalfayan,
Yes.
Meek,
Yes.
Sartor Begin,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
President Alcazar.
Yes.
Okay, I now declare Commissioner Wilson the duly elected secretary of the Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission.
Lovely. Congratulations. So I think we'll move on to the next agenda item.
Yes, item 7B, rescheduling of the January and February 2024 Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission regular meetings. I1 is a motion directing staff regarding the rescheduling of the January and February 2024 Commission regular meetings. And President Alcazar, members of the commission, as you know, the commission currently meets in regular session the third Monday of the month at 2:30 p.m. The regular meetings currently scheduled for January, 15, and February 19, 2024 fall on holidays observed by the city, Martin Luther King Day and President's Day, respectively. And after consulting with GTV, staff recommends that the Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission direct staff to reschedule the January and February 2024 Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission regular meetings to special meetings on Monday, January 22nd, and Monday, February 26, 2024, both at 2:30 p.m. in the council chambers.
Thank you. Do we have any thoughts, questions?
I would go ahead and move that we change the meeting dates.
I will second that.
Thank you.
Go ahead and call the roll, please.
Thank you. Yes. Commissioners Kalfayan,
Yes.
Meek,
Yes?
Sardarbegian.
Yes, but in advance, I will not be attending the February 26th one.
Okay, noted. Thank you. Wilson
Yes.
and President Alcazar.
Yes, please.
Thank you. Item 7C, proposed fees for rental of the Glendale Sports Complex Commercial Kitchen. At 1 is resolution establishing new fees for the rental of the Glendale Sports Complex Commercial Kitchen and recommending that the Glendale City Council incorporate into the comprehensive city-wide fee schedule the changes made to the CSP department-wide fee schedule effective December 20th, 2023.
Good afternoon, President Alcazar and members of the Commission. I'm Gabrielle Golia, the Community Services Manager, and part of the section I oversee includes the Glendale Sports Complex. I'm here today with a recommendation that the Commission approve a resolution to establish new fees in our kitchen up at the Sports Complex. Let's see here. Got some pictures of the Sports Complex kitchen up here for you so you can kind of understand what we're talking about with this kitchen. We used to operate this as a snack bar. It was originally intended to be a snack bar for the users up at the Glendale Sports Complex. And over the years, we've had multiple different operators, including the city. I ran it myself at one point in time with staff up there. And it's been rather financially unprofitable as an operation as a snack bar. So we've given it a try with vendors, with the city running it, and then also we even opened it up as an opportunity for our youth sports groups to raise money. So they paid $100 a month in order to rent it. And we were constantly challenged with people buying things. I think that was the biggest part. The expenses far exceeded the amount of profit that they could bring in. Between the health permit and the staffing costs and the cost of food, and now with inflation and minimum wage increases, it's really become harder and harder for these groups to run it. And they weren't able to really get enough volunteers, especially from the youth group organization side, in order to have consistent hours of operation, which helps, although we still had challenges. Some of the challenges that we perceive up there with getting people to buy is A, we don't allow any food or drink on our artificial turf fields, and that's to help with the longevity of the fields, but it means that spectators can't take their soda out with them to go watch their child play. Another one is that we used to have a better operation or better luck with it when we had 3 fields for the adult softball league running. Since we entered into the agreement with St. Francis, field number 1 is used more primarily for soccer in the evenings. It's no longer a softball field for our league. It's used for other things, which is great, but we do find that the parents of the soccer players don't tend to come to buy sodas and drinks and or sodas and hot dogs and chips. They want to watch their child's game and then they want to move along, whereas the softball attendees tended to sit and watch a lot more and enjoy their dinner up there. So with the snack bar having been sitting empty since 2019, before COVID, we did some remodeling in there at that point in time, and our vendor, the youth group that was running it at that time, the Glendale Babe Ruth Baseball, they opted not to come back afterwards. And again, this was pre-COVID. So it has been empty since then, and we are now exploring some different ways to utilize that space. We have been approached by one particular catering vendor who's interested in possibly renting it. So we're bringing some fees forward to you to see about possibly being able to rent this out to the public to be used as a ghost kitchen or a catering site, or even possibly for like camps to be run, cooking camps, something along those lines. One of the challenges we've come across as we were researching all of this is the health permit. If the city carries the health permit for it, which we have in the past when we ran it, we do take on the liability of any foodborne illnesses or other issues that a caterer might have. So part of this proposal is that whatever vendor chooses to rent from us, they do need to have their own health permit for the facility, for the site. It is permit ready. It will pass without an issue, especially since we did the construction in 2019. So part of our consideration on fees is that health permit cost. The health permit is an annual permit for whoever is renting it. So and it is prorated the later in the year that they get it. So our fees are based on a more expensive health permit earlier in the year to help offset that cost to the renter, and then higher rental rates later in the year when the health permit costs less. And we based the April through June, that $1,900 per month rental rate is the same as the Civic Auditorium kitchen. So it didn't come from nowhere. We chose it from that rental rate and based it off of that, and then discounted earlier in the year. So we are proposing that in the first quarter of the year, it is $800 a month. The second quarter goes up a little bit to $1,000 a month. The third quarter is $1,500 a month. And the last quarter, $1,900 a month. If someone chooses to rent it for the whole year, it's $15,000. So they do get a discount by renting it for the entire year. So those are the proposed rental rates. With the one person who's potentially interested, we don't know if they'll want to come to us or not. But the most that we're anticipating getting is about $15,000 a year in rental revenue. We don't have any extra costs associated with this because the kitchen is already permit ready. So it's been running. The refrigerators are plugged in and ready to go at any time. So there's really no increased cost on utilities or operations or maintenance. I'm happy to entertain any questions that you might have.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Collier.
I have some questions.
Sure.
So it was renovated in 2019, is that right?
Yes, President Alcazar and Commissioner Wolfson, it was renovated in 2019 as part of a renovation of the whole facility. Some cosmetic, and then we did remove a walk-in freezer at that point in time that was in the walk-in refrigerator and freezer that was in the snack bar that were in disrepair. They kept breaking. We realized that providing just a side-by-side commercial freezer and refrigerator was a much better cost and use of space. So there's more space in there at this time. And then we also did add some air conditioning, which was very needed, and stainless steel countertops.
So what was the plan back then? Was the plan to rent it out, or because I know COVID kind of threw everything out of whack,
Absolutely. At that point in time, we were thinking that our youth groups would continue to be using it. The purpose of it had always been as a service to our renters up at the sports complex. And with the youth groups renting it or giving them the opportunity to rent it, it was a fundraising opportunity for them. So back then, that was the intent. Everything went a little awry. And so here we are with this really nice empty commercial kitchen.
So now there's one interested party. Are they aware of what the anticipated rates are?
Yes, Commissioner Wolfson. We have discussed with them a couple months ago when they first came to us. We discussed some of the rates. After researching it more, they've actually been discounted since then because we learned about the health permit costs. But they have been informed of the potential rates at this point in time.
And just two more, and I'll be done. So if it hasn't been profitable to this point, how are they going to, I'm just kind of wondering, are they going to be able to make a go of it? Or, I'm concerned for them.
Oh, Commissioner Wolfson, very, very valid question. This is actually a catering company. So their goal would not be to sell and run their profit based on the sales to the participants. They would actually have nothing to do with the sports leagues that are renting the facility and who's using it. Their use of it would be as almost more of a ghost kitchen or catering cooking kitchen in order to run their private business offsite.
So a ghost kitchen, last question, that was, yes, I guess it's a ghost kitchen is a kitchen that's removed physically from actually where you're having your event or what have you. Is there, no?
Oh, actually.
Please. My understanding, and I'm not a caterer or a restaurant runner, but my understanding of Ghost Kitchens is it's almost a restaurant that's run without an actual seating area and restaurant physical space. So with the rise of Uber Eats and Grubhub and Postmates deliveries, it's a restaurant without a physical restaurant. They're just deliveries.
Oh, so it's like they just sell the food to be delivered to your house or something. Got it. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, got it. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Ms. Wolfson. Ms. Alexani, did you have a?
No, I was just going to add something, but I'll wait till all the questions in case it comes up.
I'll just keep going.
No questions.
Okay.
You have any?
I'm not understanding exactly if you want a caterer that will cater there, you have a space outdoor that he will rent the outside and he has the kitchen there. Can we do that? Are we allowed to do that, to have banquets or parties in there?
Commissioner Kalfayan, the intent would be simply for the kitchen space for prepping. We don't have a space for rent for the caterer to actually run a banquet or an event there. So the purpose of this would be for the caterer to be able to cook it and prep it here at the Glendale Sports Complex and then deliver it to a party. Maybe it's in a park, maybe it's in someone's backyard where they don't have the kitchen space to be able to prep. So it is not to have any parties at the actual Glendale Sports Complex.
So we're looking for someone to just use the kitchen and that's it. Or if packing something and delivering outside, it will be their problem. Yeah.
Commissioner Kalfine, yes, that is the intent. We don't want to have anything to do with delivering it or actually managing the food at all. Our purpose is to provide a kitchen space for people to rent in order to run their own business.
And do we have a freezer and refrigerator that's working now?
Yes.
And water and it's on us or they have to pay for it? The water and the gas and all that electricity.
Commissioner Kalfayan, the utilities are all included in the rental rates. So we will be paying for the gas, the water, the electricity as part of the rental of it. So these rates are all inclusive of the use of the facility. There aren't any other hidden fees. We don't have any sub-meters at the facility, so we don't have any way of dividing out costs of any of those utilities above this. So this is the rate.
A party that we rent the fields for them, they come and fix their own food and then serve it to their players? Is that how it is?
Commissioner Kalfayan, the parties at the Glendale Sports Complex typically aren't cooking their own food. We do rarely have a group that wants to sell something, but most of the time the parties up there are trying to fundraise for an organization. So it might be a softball tournament, and they tend to want to just sell sodas, prepackaged foods without a health permit. So they don't typically ask for use of the snack bar area. Under this rental, with these fees and with the health permit needs and requirements the way they are, it would be pretty difficult for us to rent to an organization like a softball league that wants to raise funds because they'd have to pay for a health permit to be able to cook in there. That would probably exceed the ability to fundraise for it. So since it's been sitting empty and not used for those purposes up until now, even though we had it available, we don't feel like we're precluding anybody from, something they would want to do. We haven't had that need in the past. So we feel like we're opening up an opportunity.
How are we advertising for the right person to come and pay the annual fee?
Commissioner Kalfayan, we're not looking for any one particular person to rent it per se. So this will be listed in our leisure guide as an available facility for rent and on our website as an amenity available to rent for anyone. We won't necessarily push it out to restaurants or caterers as looking for a specific vendor to run it. The intent is more if people are looking for a kitchen and they see it listed in our facilities that they can rent the space from us.
Okay. So thank you for explaining the utilities to us. So someone could come in and say, I want to do the first 2 quarters of the year and rent it that way as a part-time. Or if they say, I've got a big special event coming up, I want to cater, I'll use the kitchen for 1 quarter. They could do that too.
Commissioner Meek, yes, that would be, we're renting it on a monthly basis. So someone could rent it anywhere from 1 month to 12 months in a year.
Okay, thank you. I'm done.
So, have you guys decided on just only having one company there as a ghost kitchen, or is it the possibility of having more than one? Because a lot of ghost kitchens allow, 3, 4 different vendors to use the same spot. Just something.
Oh, Commissioner Sardabagian, yes. We did explore that. I did speak with the health department about that possibility. This particular space is not big enough to be able to be a ghost kitchen for multiple organizations at once. So we would only rent to one person or vendor or company at a time. And that is because there is a requirement for a large common space in a traditional ghost kitchen where they're shared by many. And our facility doesn't have the ability to do that. We'd have to do some pretty major construction in order to be able to allow for that. And the purpose is more to take the existing space that we have and make it available versus trying to create something new.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll definitely hand it over to our ex officio commissioners. Go ahead.
Okay, a couple questions.
Sure.
First of all, I think the prices are pretty good because with, the way that rent is nowadays, I feel like this is a good chance for maybe small businesses or someone to pop in there and have a clean place to work. Going off Commissioner Sardabagian's question about the dual, or several people in one kitchen area, what if one, company only is there on the weekends and then you have the weekdays for free? How does the fees work if it's cut up into only certain days that they're going to be there? Does that change the fees?
Well, so it is a monthly fee that we're proposing, and the reason for that is the health permit. It really comes down to that health permit. Whoever is pulling the health permit for the space would be responsible for all of the liability for anything. So if someone was renting it for, say, 3 weeks of the month, but 1 week was available and we tried to break it up, that person left over, the one picking up that extra week could potentially sicken some people accidentally, we hope, and the person who holds the actual health permit for the majority of the time would be responsible for it. We did explore situations like convention centers and large organizations where the company holds the health permit and others rent it out, and what we discovered is that most of those places have one vendor who holds the actual health permit. So Dodger Stadium doesn't really hold the health permit. They have a food vendor that holds the health permit, and the food vendor then sublets their spaces out and they take on the liability.
Okay, yeah, okay, makes sense. My next question is, how close is this kitchen actually to the fields? Like in the past when you had like the snack shop open, how is it accessible? How close is it to where everybody is, I guess?
It's a great question. It is next to the main building of the Glendale Sports Complex where the restrooms are and the snack bar seating area. So it's located kind of in the middle of all of the fields and the complex. There is access, so if they're running a catering kitchen out of it, for instance, they can bring their vans up to the back and be able to load their food into their vehicles without affecting anyone on the fields. So we're anticipating that it shouldn't be an impact on the renters or on them. They should be able to coexist.
That's awesome. And then my last question, is just about how currently when people play on the field and they're not allowed to take sodas or juices because we don't want, of course, sticky juice all over the field. How does that work? Because I remember when I played soccer with AYSO, when I was like 5, there was Gatorades and there were some juices that with closed caps. Is that still allowed, or how does that work for current people using the field?
If they're on one of our grass fields, then they're allowed to bring anything out to the sidelines on the field. Most of our fields are actually softball fields and baseball fields, so the parents are actually sitting on the grass while they're watching their children play. They're allowed to have the sticky foods and the Gatorades. At the sports complex on the artificial turf fields, we do ask that they do snacks off the field. So as they're leaving the field at the end of the game, they go ahead and give their snacks out then. And that they only bring bottled water or like refillable water bottles onto the field.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, ex officio Commissioner Kevorkian. Ex officio Commissioner Minassian, do you have any questions or thoughts?
I don't have any questions, but I want to say that I like how whoever wants to rent it out, they can, they have the option to do it just even for a month to try things out and, see if things work out, or for a whole year if they have everything planned out. That's a good idea. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you. I also had just a few questions of clarification. So from what was brought up, just wanted to hear you reiterate again. So there's only one operator at a time. So if someone rents it for a month or a quarter, that quarter contract, there's no other operators in that space as well. So if someone rents it for a whole entire year, then that is not open to anyone else, correct?
President Alcazar, yes, that is the purpose, and that is because it's not big enough to share the space for the cooking, the storage of their food, the maintenance of their food. All of that comes under their health license at that point in time. So they would be the sole renter of the space at that time.
Understood. So it becomes a first come, first serve basis of, do you imagine that would look like, an RFP would be put out at the end of the year, and then it's, selected based on something, or again, it's just strictly if someone's interested and no one else is interested, then I'm wondering how we would resolve multiple parties interested in the space.
President Alcazar, I would say that based on our current interest, we don't have a plan to RFP anything out. It is a one-year contract at most, so we wouldn't need to RFP it out because we're not entering into a long-term lease of city property. However, if we started seeing an increase in the interest for it, we certainly could look at an allocation policy in order to prioritize who would be able to get on a wait list for it, who would come next. That would be something that we would evaluate if the interest actually came in for it past the one person who's possibly interested right now.
Yeah. Okay, got it. So similar to sort of deciding, how the space gets leased out, because the fee structure is on a quarter system, and I understand that, the current sports organizations aren't necessarily, highly interested in securing this space at the moment, but those quarters are associated with certain sports, right? Mm-hmm. So those prices are different for each sport because of how it's, laid out on the calendar year. I was wondering if there's any thoughts behind that, if any of my colleagues have any thoughts behind that, because it is a, sort of an equity consideration, because that means might be more expensive for soccer versus baseball.
Commissioner President Alcazar, members of the commission, just wanted to clarify that these rates are not necessarily for the youth leagues or for the sports. So
Okay.
This would be specific to the ghost kitchen type rentals. So if youth groups, if a youth group was to come about that is currently not using the sports complex and wasn't aware, and all of a sudden they learn about the opportunity for the kitchen and they want to bring it back, I think that we would reconsider. So this is essentially in addition to what we currently offer to our youth leagues. So this was kind of brought to our attention when somebody approached us and said, hey, we're looking for a kitchen, your kitchen's not being used, is this an opportunity? And we said, we hadn't thought about that, we don't have fees. So we need to go to our commission, see if there is, if you feel that this is a good opportunity to essentially generate additional revenue when there is interest from potential individuals or organizations. But if the youth groups were to come back and somebody wants to operate the kitchen, I think we would reevaluate and not charge these fees. I think we'd go back to what we had been doing with the youth groups. So these rates would be specific for restaurant type businesses that are interested in renting the kitchen, and these rates would not apply for groups or youth groups that would be looking to operate it as a concession for the existing users of the facility, if that makes sense.
I see.
And so the other question that you had, and what I wanted to mention is that, and I think Gabrielle did a good job, is if there if there is more interest and this does pick up and we realize that, there are more individuals or companies that are interested in using the kitchen, then we essentially could reevaluate this and do an RFP type thing and not even do the 15,000, but open it up to anybody that might want to pay more money to use the facility for their purposes. This is essentially our way of introducing it to, at least because it's come to our attention that there is potential use of the facility that we currently don't have approved for. And if we need to reevaluate in 6 months or a year, we definitely will, and we'll do more of that RFP type use. So sometimes, one group thinks of something, but another hasn't, which is a good question when you said, how are you going to advertise this? Technically, we're not going to go out there and advertise it at this time. I think we're going to have the rates available should someone approach us. And if there are more people approaching us, then I think we would reevaluate and go back to an RFP type approach, because we know that there is more use and more users, and potentially if there is somebody that might be able to pay more versus another, then we could reconsider that. And of course, that would come back to the commission for reevaluation of what do we consider is revenue our major consideration in issuing an RFP, or are we looking to see the type of use that it also will bring into the facility?
Got it. Okay, thank you for that clarification. I was a little hesitant to open it up to sort of private users. Yes, appreciate the opportunity for a space to be used by small businesses as sort of like a startup space. But it is located in a public facility, right, that should be serving our community for free, ideally, because that is something that the city has paid for to be open to the public. So, the fact that this is, it's flexible, it can return back to us if the space needs to be or wants to be used by our sports complex users to become a snack bar again of some sort. Appreciate that. I did also want to ask if specifically the zone of the space allows for this use, because ghost kitchens are a whole separate use than a sort of like a kitchen space that is supposed to be an accessory to the sports complex. And it could be a conflict with our zoning code.
President Alcazar, that is a good question. To say that we've specifically checked with the planning department to verify that it is, we have not, but we assume that it is, just because it is a kitchen and there has been that type of, there has been cooking at that facility and a concession run out of the facility. But if there is different type of zoning for a ghost kitchen per se versus a concessionaire that was running it, we definitely will verify that there is no difference in our zoning code that would prohibit this type of use. But it actually hadn't crossed our minds that there would be a different zoning code, because the kitchen was already there and already being used for, cooking, depending on the type of use. But
And sales.
And sales. So we definitely will confirm before it's opened up. But to say that we've checked with planning, we hadn't thought to, just because it was a kitchen and the use was allowed in previously.
Okay.
Thank you. That's a good point.
Yeah. Only because the ghost kitchen has a more commercial, it's more of a commercial activity to me, rather than a kitchen that is being used by an organization that's, being prepared food for fundraising, for example, right?
And President Alcazar, the initial intent of the snack bar, it actually had been RFP'd out in the past for commercial sales. So it didn't begin as a fundraising opportunity. We had an organization in there when the facility first opened, Stack 2000, that was running both a catering business and a snack bar. So they were cooking for sales on the side as well as selling to the public, just to give you some history on the use of it. So, but we will check with the planning department, especially on the ghost kitchen, just to see if that is different or if it falls under the same type of use.
To me, it looks like this is a beautiful kitchen and a facility that could be used by caterers that they cater to schools, high schools or college, wherever, or they pack food for certain companies. it will be much easier for them to go and pack and leave. It's a beautiful facility. It's ready for them to use. That's my suggestion.
My one question was, will the person or persons who rent this be required to have insurance in case they damage the building?
Yes, President Alcazar and members of the commission, definitely. All of our renters are required to have insurance. It's typically a certificate of liability as well as an endorsement that names the city as additionally insured. So our risk manager reviews all of that, and we will require the renters of the kitchen to have the same policy that meets their standards for risk management.
Okay. Ex officio Commissioner Kevorkian had a.
I just want to make a joke. I said whoever rents it out, we should do a tasting. I think we should taste what food's been cooked in there.
Okay, I will move the suggested prices, fees for the Glendale Sports Complex commercial kitchen.
I'll second it.
May I ask one more thought before we call the roll? So if, depending on if it is allowed in our zoning code, I guess, you know, if it is, then we could move on with this fee structure, but if it's not, then does this become sort of void, or?
President Alcazar, because I think the catering portion would be okay, the fee structure would still stand for the catering portion. I think the debate would be whether the ghost kitchen of actually delivering and bringing food in and out for pickup and sales may be the part that we want to verify. So I believe the fee structure would still stand unless the commission wishes otherwise.
Okay. Thank you for that. We can go ahead and call the roll. Thank you.
Certainly. Commissioners Kalfayan?
Yes.
Meek?
Yes.
Sarter-Begian?
Yes.
Wolfson?
Yes.
And President Alcazar.
Yes.
Thank you.
And that leads us to our next agenda item, please.
Yes, item 8 is reports, information only. At A, Park Services Section Monthly Activity Report for September 2023.
Thank you.
President Alcazar, members of the commission, Mr. Peplo had a 65-slide PowerPoint that he wanted to share, but unfortunately he had an emergency this afternoon. So he will like to make the presentation next meeting in December. So I'm requesting to move this item to our December meeting.
Do we need to move that item or anything? No? Okay. Did anyone have any questions on?
Hope everything's okay with him.
Everything is fine. Yeah, thank you.
And with that, I think,
One more.
I'll go on to item 8B, and that's Recreation and Community Services Section Monthly Activity Report for October 2023.
Good afternoon again. I shouldn't have sat down. I'm Gabrielle Golia. I'm back with our recreation report. Here's the fun stuff. We had our One Glendale Flag Football Championship on Friday, October 20th. This was from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. at Pacific Community Center. We had hundreds of spectators, and the Jefferson Tigers prevailed over the Muir Mustangs. Yay! I vote for both schools, so. We had our annual Fall Festival and Pacific Community Center anniversary. This was on the next day, Saturday, October 21st. This was the Pacific Community Center Park and Branch Library's 20th anniversary, as well as the Fall Festival. And as Commissioner Wolfson mentioned, it was very well attended. We had over 800 people in attendance. It's hard to count when you get that high, so really great. We had a pumpkin patch with over 400 pumpkins. The Glendale Rocks climbing wall, our brand new wall came out for the event. 2 jump houses and 9 carnival games, so it was quite a fun event. Parents' Night Out was on, we had a couple of them. We had one on October 20th at Spar Heights and one on October 27th at Pacific Community Center. Spar Heights had 18 participants and PCC had 16 participants. And of course, with it being October, we did a lot of fun. Everything's going to be Halloween themed in our report today. Our Trails and Open Space program was really fun this time. On October 14th, we had the Riverwalk Workday, and because it was the same day as the annular solar eclipse, we passed out sunglasses to participants, and they got to take a little break from their cleanup to take a peek up at the sun and see what was happening up there. We had 10 volunteers there. On October 21st, we had 18 members of the public, and they joined for Wilderness Work Day. And then on the 27th, the Friday night lecture was Creepy Crawlies, and we had 29 people for that one. And then also BSA Troop 319, one of their Eagle Scouts, completed a really wonderful wayfinding sign at Deukmejian. So a picture of that sign was included in the report, and our lovely scout helping to install it. We did have Ironwood, who he worked with Ironwood, who is the original installer of all of the exhibits within the barn, help to actually fabricate the sign and then help having it installed professionally. So the scout came out to help do that. And it's really a neat sign that talks about the Tongva people and the mountains in our area, and just very informative for the history of this area. Our Stone Barn Nature Center had some scout troops come to visit. We had a nonprofit organization called Nature for All come to visit. We are continuing to book that facility as much as possible. Calls come in. Some of the calls that we get are for larger weddings. Unfortunately, we can't accommodate the big weddings inside, but we are still having a lot of interest about that space. We had our monthly GO program on October 14th, and although it was October, we didn't do Halloween. We did the solar eclipse because it was on the same day as the solar eclipse. So 54 people came and participated in that event. That's a fun program because now we have received the Metro grant. We've officially been awarded it. We're going to council to allocate the funds for it. And so that's going to provide free busing for both the GO program as well as field trips for schools here in Glendale, and also some general transportation up on the weekends. So we're really looking forward to, we've already started implementing it. We had our first field trip just last week where we paid for the buses for it. So it's very exciting. For Youth and Family Services, we had Teen Night Out held every Friday at Pacific Community Center. Teens definitely were getting into the spirit of Halloween. They helped us with our decorations. They made pumpkins. They decorated. We also, on Friday the 20th, they decorated for the One Glendale Flag Football Championship night. They assisted with that. We had 2 teens actually come out for the Fall Festival on the 21st, and they helped us with the carnival games. On the 27th, the teens from the Teen Night Out had their annual Halloween party. They had candy, pizza, and refreshments, and one wore a pumpkin on his head. They had a blast. It was a really fun night. During October, STAR students were getting into the fall spirit. Students had a chance to engage with the program sponsors from the Glendale Association of Realtors. They came out each week during the month of October, and they sponsored dinner during each visit. As they ate their meals, the STAR students and the sponsors shared their favorite types of food and how culture and background helped shape their food palette. In our therapeutics section, on October 21st, we had the Maple Inclusive Play Day from 11 to 1. So they had arts and crafts and, again, celebrated Halloween. Lots of fun Halloween during the month. Our Club Maple program on October 26th had the annual Halloween program, their party. They had 71 participants come out for their Halloween program, which is amazing. They had pizza and refreshments, and after dinner they made a Halloween craft, and we had a Halloween costume contest. For our senior programs, on October 6th, the department, in partnership with Regal Medical Group and Lakeside Community Health Care, held a presentation on prescription medication and over-the-counter medication. Participants had the opportunity to bring in their own medication list and then ask them any questions that they might have about their medication. And that's really important because sometimes they get these prescriptions and they just don't know, that, they take it, they think, okay, great, I should take it, but they don't necessarily have the opportunity to really ask those questions questions. So this gave them that opportunity. We had 10 seniors in attendance for that program. On October 31st, you guessed it, Halloween again. We celebrated Halloween with the Elderly Nutrition Program. They celebrated at the Adult Recreation Center and Spar Heights. The participants really enjoyed spending time together, wearing their costumes. They received goodie bags filled with candy and chocolates, and everybody had a chance to win the pumpkin centerpiece to take home, and that's always very popular. Everyone wants the centerpiece. In the month of October, 3,841 meals were served in the Congregate Meals Program, and 1,736 meals were delivered in the Home Delivered Meals Program. And as of October 31st, there are 48 seniors enrolled in the Supportive Services Program. The City of Glendale employees got to participate in serving meals during the month of October. So we had a Let's Do Lunch campaign. It was created and promoted by Meals on Wheels America in 2014. There was a hiatus due to the pandemic, but we brought City of Glendale employees back. They had an opportunity to dedicate their lunch hour to serving meals during the program. Glendale Police Department, Glendale Water Power, Management Services, Community Services and Parks, Library, Arts and Culture, everybody, all those departments got to participate. We had 42 employees who came out and helped serve meals throughout the month to the seniors. And I was there. It was really fun. It's wonderful. I love it. All right. Upcoming, we have an oximeter. I'm going to say it right, oximeter screening. This is on Wednesday, November 22nd from 10 to 11 a.m. at the Adult Recreation Center. The little library at Maple Park, the mobile library will be coming out on Wednesdays in the month of November and December from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Library on Wheels. Our holiday tree lighting and Crema Classic are coming up. Crema Classic will be out first at the Montrose Holiday Tree Lighting coming up on Friday. This Friday, they will be out there collecting toys. And then again, at our holiday tree lighting ceremony on November 30th, next Thursday, we invite all of you out. Please join us at the event. We will be lighting our City Hall tree out here in the plaza. And we'll also have the classic truck out in order to collect toys for ABC Spark of Love. We have a Senior Services Committee meeting. I apologize. Do we have details on this? Oh, November 29th. Sorry, it's in my notes. November 29th at 2:30 p.m. is our quarterly Senior Services Committee meeting. Teen Night Out is coming up in December, January, and February. We have a couple meetings each month, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. for ages 13 to 18. This is at Pacific Community Center. And we invite teens and their families to come check it out every single month, almost every week. It's really wonderful. The Riverwalk Fall Tree Planting event is coming up on December 2nd. Our Glendale Parks and Open Space Foundation is going to be working to help plant some trees out in the Riverwalk area. It's from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the Narrows area by Confluence Park. It'll be a great event for the community to come out and enjoy adding to our Riverwalk area. The GO program at the Stone Barn Nature Center will be the second Saturday of the month. We have one in December, January, and February coming up from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Participants can meet us at the barn at 9 a.m. or they can meet at Pacific Community Center at 8:30 and ride the bus up for free. Birdwalk on the Riverwalk is coming up on Saturday, December 9th from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. at the Narrows Riverwalk. Come on out. We have a special guest who will lead and help identify the birds out on the Riverwalk. Holiday at the Stone Barn. So October was Halloween month and December is holiday month. So we'll be having our Holiday at the Stone Barn event. Also on December 9th, this is in the evening up at the barn. And we are going to have volunteer violinists from the symphony playing as part of our performance. So it's gorgeous. They came out once before, and the sound and the acoustics in there is absolutely beautiful. So if you can make it out, we would really love to see you there. The Fiesta de las Luminarias is coming up. It is at Casa Adobe de San Rafael Park, and this is also on December 9th. We have a busy December 9th. Free smartphone training, November 15th, just passed, and December 13th from 12:30 to 2:30 p.m. Maple Inclusive Play for December is on the 16th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Maple Park Community Center. And if you have any other questions or you want to go back and see any of these events, they are all available on our website at the CSP calendars.
Thank you for that. I see that you pressed your button. I'm sorry to put you on the spot.
No, that's okay.
Ms.
Thank you,
Alexandra.
President Alzar. Just wanted to give a quick shout out to Magic Jump Rentals for donating 2 jumpers for our fall festival and our 20th anniversary. We love when vendors work with the city and are able to provide stuff for free. So just wanted to give them a quick shout out, and also highlight the great work that staff does. Amira, our grant writer, working with Gabrielle and Jackie, had worked on a grant when we mentioned the Go Community Program. We were able to secure over $250,000 over 3 years through Metro to provide transportation access for individuals living in South Glendale to be able to use the bus to get to Deukmejian. We can probably bring back a report as we go through the grant program, but just wanted to give a quick shout out to staff on being able to secure the funding, and also let you know that opportunity is finally going to come about, where a bus will be available at least once a week to be able to provide bus transportation for either people who don't have a vehicle or don't want to drive their vehicle and want to go hiking or checking out the Storn Barn or participating in our nature education programs at Deukmejian to be able to get there. So we'll have flyers and provide more information, but just wanted to do a quick shout out and thank staff as well.
Yeah, thank you so much for highlighting that, because I have seen information flyers go out to my son's school. So I love that the department is doing the work to put out the information about it, and I'm very happy to hear that we have more money coming in to make it a long-term program. So with that, did any of my colleagues have any thoughts, questions on
I
the
just
report?
want to say thank you, and also I'm very pleased to know that there's transportation available for people to get up to Deukmejian, because it is a bit of a schlep up there. And also just wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving.
Go ahead. I just wanted to point out that of all the volunteers that helped out at the youth flag football, and the people in the shorts and t-shirts, the people in the tiger and horse costumes, and the LA Dodger Rams cheerleaders came out. It was very nice to see all these people that just really make these events happen.
Thank you.
Before we adjourn, I want to thank President Mick for his hard work for a whole year. He took it so seriously. Thank you very much. And I want to congratulate the new secretary and the president.
Here, here.
Thank you, Commissioner. Okay, well, I think with that, yes, I hope that everyone has a very safe holiday week and eats a lot of food. And I think we're at adjournment, if I'm not mistaken. Awesome. So